Hello and welcome to another episode of Put Me in Coach, episode 19 of the Diamondbacks versus the Orioles Game 3. And this game was crazy, going back and forth. The starting lineup today for the Diamondbacks of Kento Marte is now back in the rotation, playing DH. Corbin Carroll is playing right field. And so Adrian Del Casio is playing catcher, Jose Fernandez at first base, and Alec Thomas at center field, and Jorge Barosa at left field, and the rest is the same. So sometimes enough, it does change you. The crazy thing is look at the board. My goodness, it finally happened. The first time. This is probably the first time I ever seen every player on the team got a base hit. There's the only people got 2 base hits is Carroll, Castillo, Castillo. My bad, sorry, it's hard to say weird words. Vargas and Nolan Arenado, and 7. The rest, have 1. It's all right. Still good on the board. I like to see people swing the bat, and then looking at the ball and strike it out. Put some effort into it or some ways and stuff. You never know. The ball, just put the ball in play. You never know. People can make errors. People, you're not ready for it and stuff. And we'll hack the ball really hard, and enough of it will be, base hit and stuff. These are professional baseball players. You should hit a baseball pretty easy at this point and stuff. Especially enough we have really good players are superstars and stuff at this level. They could absolutely enough it. But again, you understand of enough of pitcher as wise enough of throwing in different speed and rotation of the pitch and stuff. You gotta really know about to hit the ball at good timing, and watch the speed of it, because it can be crazy, off pitch, or just going crazy, forcing fastball and stuff. So those are the most biggest thing. But the only thing about this is just showing enough of the offense is doing really good, and I'm enjoying it all the way. And I was shocked of seeing it of enough of every batter got on base with walks, got hit, whatever. It doesn't matter. Get on base. That's all that matters and stuff. And if people can actually capitalize on that and get some runs and scoring and stuff, you can win games pretty easy and stuff. So that's a positive on the offense. Pitching wise enough, Eduardo Rodriguez is no longer one runs or anything. No, he didn't go back to 0 Rodriguez anymore and stuff. So I think this was his toughest matchup today and stuff. He did okay in the first inning and stuff, and then he kind of went downhill and stuff. He didn't really give up so much runs, but there was a lot of hits overall. So he went 5 innings, gave up 6, gave up sorry, I'm gonna start over on this one. He went 5 innings, gave up 6 hits, struck out 3, walked 4, and gave up 4 runs and stuff. So not the best matchup for Rodriguez and stuff, but I would say enough. He looked good out there some ways, but it's just I thinking the Orioles just this is do or die. Let's hit off this pitcher, and fortunately they did. So that's something to just look for of enough for Rodriguez need to Like, obviously, he had that capitalized enough of, like, hey, like, I only gave up 1 run in 3 pitch starting and stuff, so hopefully I don't ruin that. Unfortunately, that happened and stuff. Kyle Bradish for the Orioles today did okay as well. He's also, like, same thing with the matchup with Rodriguez today as well. They both were giving a lot of hits, and so that just shows enough of the offense on the Orioles side and the Diamondbacks offense just were, like, battings was just going off, like, left and right. So he went 6 innings, gave up 8 hits, struck out 3, walk once, and then gave up 4 runs and stuff. So that's why enough I put in comparison with both of them, because both of them gave a lot of hits away, but not getting a lot of runs to it. Like, giving 4 runs, like, that's pretty good, but mostly you don't want to give none runs and stuff. Mostly, like, the least you could do is 2 or 1 and stuff, and the best is 0 and stuff. So it's an interesting matchup with both of these pitchers, but I would definitely say, like, they look good for themselves, but not looking good for their teams. And then the bullpen for the Diamondbacks: Kevin Ginkel, Taylor Clark, Ryan Thompson, and Juan Morello getting his first save. And to me, enough of just like, okay, like, so I get the bullpen is doing great and stuff, but why you didn't put Paul Sewald in the game and stuff? Like, he could get his 7th save and stuff, but I guess he's going back into that thing where enough of he's putting pitchers are not closers and stuff. But Morello did his job. He got the save. Good for him. But I would like to see Sewald and stuff because he's our closer at this time. So that is that. Again, I would definitely say it goes back and forth here and there and stuff. The bullpen is really good and stuff. Kevin Ginkel's the only person gave up 1 run, but pretty much of that, pretty solid for defense. So Diamondbacks are just looking really good at this point and stuff. And honestly enough, it makes me happy more often because I love seeing my Diamondbacks to win. It sucks to lose and stuff. And then scoring and stuff. There was a lot of scoring back and forth and stuff, but I didn't really talk so much about it or I put any notes and stuff. So the only ones I'm going to talk about is the ones like I mostly thought it was pretty much big for the game I saw and stuff. Adrian Del Casio get a 2 RBI triple to make it 2-1 top of the 3rd and stuff. It should be like a catch, but Wilson almost like caught it and stuff, and they thought it was an error, but fortunately they took the error away and actually give Castillo a triple instead. And then Jorge Barosa did hit a RBI double to make it 3-2 in the top of the 4th. So you realize enough of it went back and forth and here. And Jeremiah Jackson hitting a 2-home run to make it 4-3 bottom of the 5th. Man, this kid is just smacking all over on the Diamondbacks this whole season. Or the series, I meant to say. So, if you look at the thumbnails, he's pretty much gonna be in all 3 of the thumbnails because he is hacking some base hits and home runs and stuff. Like, I was not really expecting he was gonna do this, but fortunately he did and stuff. So, fortunately now the Orioles took the lead at this time. But Adrian Del Castillo hit a 2-home run to make it 7-5, top of the 10th, and the Diamondbacks did win 8-5 is the total of the record of 11-8 looking good for the Diamondbacks. We actually need that because it was tied in the 10th when extra inning was 5-5, and that's where he hit the 2 home run when we had Corbin Carroll at second base, because that's the thing, if you go extra innings and stuff, you could put an extra person at second. The last person came up the bat and stuff, and that was Carroll. So fortunately enough, he doesn't need to run super fast. It was already home run, so he can just easily run into home. So yeah, it was just a crazy game. It was back and forth and stuff. Like I know I didn't talk so much about many scores and stuff, but these are the ones just pop up for me at the time. Maybe Jorge Barossa RBI double and stuff, but fortunately that took the lead and generally enough. The other ones were weak. There were singles and stuff here and there, and probably doubles and stuff. But fortunately enough, these are just the ones just pop me and stuff. And I don't want to talk every score and stuff, so I'm trying to limit the max for you guys and stuff. And then Progress, I don't know what to say about Progress. I would definitely say one more thing about Rodriguez. Hopefully he learns his mistakes, and hopefully he gets back into it and not giving much runs than he does and stuff, because he looked pretty good in the beginning, but now he's losing that momentum to himself. But fortunately enough, I love to see the offense getting hits. We're getting runs. That's the biggest thing about that, and not giving the other team score and have a comeback and stuff. We fortunately lost game one, and we should win game one, and we should absolutely beat the Orioles and sweep them in 3 games and stuff. But things gonna happen to the worst or the best and stuff. But fortunately, they fought to this win and stuff, and love to see them capitalize, getting back-to-back games to win over the Orioles and stuff, and winning the series as well and stuff. So that was pretty huge and stuff. And then the MVP today is going to be Adrian Del Castillo, winning his first MVP on this podcast. Love to see him coming through and stuff. I realized enough of this guy can actually hit home runs. He's a typical player, is going to hit home runs, and that's what he did last year and even 2 years before, until he came in as a player and stuff. He was a home run hitter, so for him to not doing so well, and then now he's kind of creeping up a little bit to do a lot better and stuff. And also he's getting some playing time, and I think that's pretty huge for him, just being the DH and then not playing so much the other time. So now for going back and forth with James McCain and him playing catcher and stuff, depends on who they're playing and what Ravella wants to put in certain games and stuff, because James McCain is still a good player, and same thing with Adrian Del Castillo, just to play in the game and stuff. So love to see them playing good baseball. So that's all that matters and stuff. With a good win. Tomorrow I got a break and stuff because there's no game tomorrow and stuff. But there will be a game on Friday. Diamondbacks are coming back home, playing the former champion of 2025 World Series of the Toronto Blue Jays. And currently enough, what I'm hearing, Blue Jays are not doing so well. So hopefully we get a good opportunity to beat them and stuff. But we never know. And stuff. That's pretty much of it and stuff. Diamondbacks snake alive and stuff, just what it is in baseball, and we just love to see the Diamondbacks win some games and stuff. So that's pretty much of that. Hopefully you guys are liking the podcast at this moment and stuff, and I'll see you guys in another podcast, video, games, whatever and stuff. You guys have a great day, and thank you for watching.